Well, good Monday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majestic back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Weather Studios with your Talking Live forecast update here on your July 20th, 2026. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Monday is turning out to be another steamy, warm day out there. We'll see a few pockets of showers and thunderstorms as we wrap up our Monday. And it looks like we'll have a carbon copy repeat going into your Tuesday. Now, the rest of the week, we might see some subtle changes coming our way as the temperatures may back off just a little bit. And, of course, we're going to have to go over the latest on Tropical Depression number 2, which formed yesterday. It does look like that's going to continue on a westward trajectory and shouldn't have a big influence on our weather right now as it stands currently. Now, before we get going on this full report, if you're new here to the Talking Live Broadcast Channel's Facebook page, please give us a follow. And if you happen to be watching over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. But very importantly, make sure you hit that notification bell so you're alerted on all future weather updates. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this report, shall we? As we take a look at the early afternoon hours in Chattanooga, looking very nice. Beautiful day out there, a lot of sunshine, a few clouds, shaping up to be a pretty nice afternoon, a little bit on the humid side. Same as well, but can be said there in Helen, Georgia, with a few clouds around and a nice looking afternoon as things begin to warm on up. Now, early afternoon, we're already starting to bump up a few little isolated showers out there. Nothing too big to be worried about there across North Georgia, here across portions of East Tennessee. But again, this will be kind of isolated and spotty, I think, here as far as coverage for today. And probably more of the same going into Thursday, or going into your Tuesday as well. So looking at your local temperatures, things are warming up nicely already into the 80s. We may have a few 90s out there for this afternoon. That's what we're going to get, in the low 90s for a lot of folks, especially across East Tennessee and West Georgia. And radar regionally looking like this. Pretty quiet for the most part for the moment, but obviously the big story continues to be our spin up down here with our tropical depression. We do have a storm surge watch here along the coast as this thing kind of moves in this direction. And not really forecast to become all that strength as far as its overall look, because it's just can't quite get itself really organized here. Looking at satellite imagery here, we're just not getting a big cluster of thunderstorms across the center. We do have some dry air intrusion in here as well, so it's kind of fighting that. So this thing, even though it's over some really relatively warm waters, it's not looking too healthy right now, and it's got a little bit of wind shear, but not a ton at the moment. So looking at the current track of the system, you see it out here going to the west. So again, we're up here and it should stay away from us. I was concerned originally, it looked like maybe the front coming down later this week was going to pick this thing up and kind of stir it back this way. There were a couple models showing that, but right now it looks like this thing's going to be undercutting that trough and should stay going to the west. The only bad thing is that if it brings any kind of heavy rain here across Texas that are starting to recover from last week's flooding, that's not a good thing. But right now, it's not forecast to become a hurricane at all and remain a tropical storm and then kind of weaken as a depression as it moves into Texas. All right, so looking at our local forecast here, we do have some pockets of possible heavy rain here for today over parts of East Tennessee and parts of North Georgia. Going into tomorrow should be to the north. And then on Wednesday, and we get an uptick here of some heavy rain, especially across northeast Georgia here, back this way. You see East Tennessee and North Georgia here looking at some pockets of some heavy rain potential as our next frontal system moves into the area. So our severe weather outlook here for today, not bad. Looking at a general thunderstorm threat here. Again, spotty as far as coverage is concerned. Going into day 2, we got a little bit more active weather here as we got that down in this area here, looking at some showers and storms. Got level 2. Slight risk up there toward the Knoxville area with some heavier rains possibility. Again, we're going to be worried about gusty winds. That'll be the big threat here going into that. And then going into your day 3, just a general threat. And it looks like things begin to settle down a little bit as the frontal system gets moving on into the area. All right, so let's look at the model here. We're going to watch that storm continue to move on off. It should be Bertha as this continues to move on off. And then you got these couple of fronts that are going to come down in here and kind of wash itself out and kind of enhance our rain threat for a couple days. And we're going to see our temperatures back off just a little bit. So looks like we'll have a few days where we're only going to be seeing the 80s for a change and not 90s. And looks like we'll see a couple of pockets, a couple of days where the rain chances will come up just a little bit. So as we look at our weather maps here, again, here comes that frontal system that's probably going to die as it moves into our area here. So this will kind of be moving on to the south, kind of getting down to this position and kind of wash out over time. And then there'll be another one behind it. So as we look at our forecast here for tomorrow, it's going to be a repeat of what we saw on our Mondays. We're up Monday, low 90s, mid 70s. I will say the high resolution model is a little bit warmer with this. So as we go ahead and take a look at the highs here for your Tuesday, it is actually going even hotter. It's actually showing here like 96 degrees. So I think that's a little overdone. I think it's just a little higher, but I think low to mid 90s looks pretty reasonable here. And then if you factor in the heat, the feel like temperatures, you're going to be getting near that century mark. But it's going to be a steamy day to say the least here across East Tennessee and North Georgia. Region looking like this. You really want some hot weather? These are air temperatures, folks. These are not feel like temperatures. How about Little Rock at 106? Boy, they're baking out here in the Plain States. There's numerous heat advisories out there because of that. And you can see where the clouds and the influence of our tropical systems keeping things on the cooler side down there toward the Florida Panhandle. So as we look at the next 7 days, here we go, as we're looking at rain chances coming up on Wednesday. And then we're back in the 80s here for a little bit. And then as we get through the weekend, the temperatures start to go back up again going into Monday next week, back up to 93, 73. So we kind of back it off just a little bit. And they could be potentially a little cooler, which just depends on how far of a push we get with that dry air, with that cold front coming down into our area here for this week. Now, with a thunderstorm threat around here, and as you saw, we've got some possible isolated pockets of severe weather potential for tomorrow. I want you to download our free weather app. If you're an Apple user, go to the Apple Store, or Android, you go to Google Play, put in North Georgia Majestic Weather, and download the free app. App will alert you when rain's approaching your area. Obviously, lightning detection, lightning alerts, severe weather alerts, hour-by-hour forecasts, a nice future cast, so you can get an idea where that radar is and where it's going. And this brought to you by our weather app sponsor, Roof It Forward, out of Woodstock, Georgia. A great company here that'll give you good quality roof. And they give a portion of every job back to local children's charity. So check these guys out. They truly do pay it forward. And we thank them for being our weather app sponsor. All right, that'll do it for today. Again, just more heat out there, obviously, for tomorrow going into Tuesday. Then we get maybe a slight back off on the temperatures later this week. And at least we don't have to worry about any tropical storm or tropical type rains coming into our area here anytime soon, as it looks like TD2 is going to head west and stay away from East Tennessee, North Georgia. All right, that's y'all's update for today. Remember, give us a follow there on Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be alerted on all our weather updates. All right, that'll do it for today. Y'all be good, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a good day. Bye-bye.